Hey everybody, it's your man Dr. L. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast. And we are welcoming you to Faith and Justice podcast with my man Dr. B.
I am Dr. B. I'm honored to be with my colleague with our earned PhDs. All glory to God, and we're happy to have us. The reason why we say earned because a lot of people ain't got earned; they got honoraries, but we earn what God's given us. All glory to God.
Yes. Thank you so much for checking out the show. Make sure you hit the like button on your way in. And this is a new podcast that Dr. B and I decided to start because we wanted to talk about a lot of social issues and what's going on in the community. And he's obviously going to come from the faith side of this faith, right? This podcast is called Faith and Justice, and I'm going to come from the criminal justice aspect of it. And we're going to
Yes,
ask some very serious questions. Can we have faith in the criminal justice system? Can we have faith in the church? Can we have faith in Black folks? All that kind of stuff. What say you, Dr. B?
Truth, and we have to be truthful. We have to speak the truth no matter what color it lands on because it is an issue. But faith is right, justice is right, and we got to make sure that we have the right people, the right mindset to go further.
Very good. So make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, share, tell your friends about it, tell your enemies about it. Let's make it grow. Let's make it do what it do. Today, we're going to talk about two different stories here. And the first one is we're going to talk about, hope to talk about them. And that is the one about domestic violence. And that is occurring with Sha'Carri Richardson and her arrest at an airport, subsequent to her actions at an airport. Sha'Carri Richardson being
Yes.
the Olympic sprinter,
Yeah.
who was, in a confrontation with her boyfriend at I believe it's in Tacoma, Washington, or Seattle, Washington
Yeah.
airport,
Mm-hmm.
and in that situation. Have you heard about this, Dr. B? You know anything about it? You read about it?
I've heard a little bit about it, but I will tell you also as a marriage counselor, there are a lot of women who like to put their hands on their man, and if it's wrong for the man, it's wrong for the woman too as well. And many women have justified putting their hands on their man because, well, I'm smaller, I'm weaker. It's like a gnat hitting them. The bottom line is domestic violence is wrong either way.
Man, that's interesting that they would try to justify that type of thing. And so I played a video on my other channel, Dr. L's podcast,
Yes,
shameless
sir. Yes,
plug. I played a video in which there were two young toddlers, right? And they were having a cute little argument about them being in diapers. And if I would have thought about it, I would have queued it up here. But cute little argument about them being in diapers. One was saying, "You are a baby because you're wearing a diaper." The other one's saying, "I'm not a baby." Boy and a girl, and the boy is saying, "You are a baby." The girl saying, "I'm not a baby. I'm, whatever. Whatever she says, whatever she thinks in her mind." And what was interesting to me is that the girl would then start touching the boy.
Oh my goodness.
And the people are watching this, obviously videotaping this on their cell phone or some other device, and never corrected the girl
Correct.
about touching the boy.
Correct.
I pointed that out. We want to know about this entitlement that's going on, everything you just mentioned. I can tell you the same thing goes on in criminal justice situations. Girls think it's okay, or ladies think it's okay to put their hands on these boys, and that no one is ever correcting them along the way.
Yeah. The culture in America is definitely, it's all right for a woman to hit a man, but it's not right for a man to hit a woman. So there's many facets. Facet number one is that usually the girl has seen the mother put her hands on the man, so it's, I can do this because I can get away with it. But respect is needed on both parties, and you cannot do that. But again, it's our culture that says it's all right for a woman to hit a man. No, it is not all right. And then if a man does have a problem with that, then he's, you being effeminate. No, I don't like to be hit upon. Now, if you do some S&M, that's a different story. Amen. But that wasn't that wasn't S&M in the airport. She was frustrated. Apparently, he had done something. So apparently, he had said something. Maybe he had flirted. But again, two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting phenomenon, and people think that this is some new phenomenon. But I can remember when I was in grammar school and in middle school, girls saying this exact thing to me. I can hit you, you can't hit me back. So I've heard other people saying that, this is something new. No, this was going on. And listen, I'm in my 50s. And so I heard this when girls would tell me this. And I'm like, wait a minute, and it developed in me while I couldn't articulate it. It developed in me.
Sure.
I got to stay away from these little girls because I'll get in trouble. I'll get suspended. Seriously.
So, since you are retired, honored police officer, how many years, sir?
I did 24.
24 years. How many arrests did you see where it was a woman who instigated versus the man?
That's an interesting question. And I don't know if I can really quantify that because I never really thought about it. I do remember going through trainings and people saying that we had to do trainings to try to tell us that sometimes these women will instigate things. And
That's
I remember
correct.
I remember being on scene with different officers, and it was almost let me dive into this a little bit here.
All right,
Because
guys.
when we had these trainings, right? So the way that in particular, I was a police officer in Connecticut. So Connecticut was, you had to stay there, as police officers could not leave the scene. And anytime there was domestic violence, now it's called intimate partner violence. 5 years it'd be called something different. But we had domestic violence training. And so that training said, and the mandate from the state said, police officers got to the scene and you had to take some action, and you couldn't leave the scene until that was done. And if there was probable cause to make an arrest, probable cause meaning that you believe a crime has occurred and this person committed the crime. So if you got probable cause, then you were mandated to make an arrest. In other situations, you may have probable cause, police officer may have probable cause and not make an arrest. An example of that would be, maybe there's a 12-year-old who still stole a candy bar, or there's a matter of fact, there was a 15-year-old one time. It was a 15-year-old black kid, and there's a police officer. I was a supervisor at the time. White police officer gets there and to the local store, and the 15-year-old black kid had stolen a box of condoms. And so the white police officer told the manager of the store, I'm not arresting this kid. He's trying to take care of himself. It's whatever it was, $5. And the police officer was going to pay for it. Just to keep from locking this black kid up, giving him a record. And I was a supervisor. I was so impressed. I'm like, thank you, brother. And he's like, no, this is no big deal. Right. But other such, if he would have run into the wrong cop, that 15-year-old would have been thrown, would have gone down, right? So that's just an example of what probable cause. The police officer had the probable cause, videotapes, all this kind of stuff, but the officer decided not to do it. But in the state domestic violence situation, you are mandated. You must make the arrest so people don't go home and fight. You don't leave the situation, go home, fight, and then something more tragically happens.
Understood.
So that's the situation with probable cause, right? In this, I totally forgot my train of thought. Why was I talking about that?
You talking about, I asked you how many arrests were made because the woman started the fight versus the man.
Right. Very good. So again, we had to have this training. So my time in the police department, even though we had this training, it was still foreign in the officers' minds that the woman started the fight. We had the trainings. They sat through the same thing I did, but when they got to the situation, even if the guy guy, sometimes they would look and say we would look for defensive wounds, right? So sometimes if you grab the girl's arms and just hold her down, they would look at that as some type of aggression. But I would be defending for the guy, saying, no, listen, he's just holding her down, keeping her away. Nah. We got arrested guy. And these are actual debates that we would have about this situation. And again, we had the trainings. If somebody, you can, no matter who you are, in a domestic violence situation, in a situation with a complete stranger, you have every right to defend yourself.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean you start taking blows, start applying blows and punches, but it does mean you can restrain them, which is very often what men were doing, was restraining their girlfriends and or wives in these situations. And we're going to watch this video with Sha'Carri. We see this brother walking away, Had it, I was almost guaranteeing you, had this not been this hyper surveillance environment that we live in, and she called the police,
Yeah,
at minimum,
I
he
would.
would
I
have
know where
been
you're going.
arrested too.
I
He would have
know
been
where you're going.
arrested too.
I know where you're going.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the situation that we're dealing with. So how many times? I don't know. I can't recall off the top of my head any type of numbers about that, but there
Yeah.
is a guy who does delve into that. His name is Dr. T. Hassan Johnson. He teaches at, I want to say, Fresno State.
Okay.
He's someone I follow on YouTube, and he looks into those types of numbers quite frequently, as to how much violence is bidirectional, or in some situations um, where the woman is the aggressor. And then there are some research, now that I think about it, there is some research saying that many times, I don't know the percentage, I don't want to misspeak, but many times that the woman is the aggressor because of exactly what I said, that no one has ever told them don't hit a man.
That's correct.
And they will look at your walking away, you're turning your back, you're
Yeah.
trying to get away, you're trying to get out the
Yeah.
door, as signs of weakness, and try to
Right.
pounce on that weakness.
Sir, again, is a fact, and it's not good, and I know about it myself in the past, but it's something that it is wrong to hit for any reason at all. You got to take your aggression out. You cannot do it on the person that you say you love. Whether you walk away, but show me the video, because I've never seen the video. I think I saw a little bit of it, but I've never seen the video itself.
Okay, here we go. We're gonna play it here. This
All right.
comes from Sun Sport News, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mute it because there's people talking and all that kind of
Right.
stuff.
Now, do you have any kids together?
I don't know anything about the relationship, how long they've been together, or anything like that.
Okay.
I don't think Sha'Carri has a kid. I
All
think
right.
she's young. She's still doing her Olympic thing there.
Yeah.
So I don't think
I know she's very young though.
Yeah. We can try. I'll try to find an article to read through this here and figure out the ages and all that, how long they've been together and what they plan to do. But let me pull it up here. Share screen.
And please check out our website, people, as well. Please check out our website. Oh, okay.
All right. So this is them at the bottom there. There's obviously a circle. It is muted. This video, I'm gonna, here we go.
Oh, bump.
Second bump.
Yeah.
Push.
Oh, Lord.
See him turning his back, trying to get away.
Yeah. Another bump. Oh,
I think that's just a replay there.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Wow. That's bump.
Grabs him. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you're gonna hear me today.
No, there's a little punch right there. Yeah, that was a slap. It was a slap or a punch right there. Let me see if I can play it again here.
The brother's not hitting her back.
No, he's not.
I applaud him. Oh, wow. She checked her like a hockey stick.
Yeah.
Wow.
This might be on a loop right now, but
yeah. And the police are walking. The police just walk by it. Wow. That's deep, man. She put her hands on him.
Yeah, so let me see if I can find the they're obviously talking right here.
Yeah, let me look it up too as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit the pause button here.
All right.
Okay, you found some info?
Yeah, so this happened on July 27th, 2025, Seattle airport. It was her boyfriend, Christian Coleman, at a TSA checkout point. She shoved him multiple times, including once against a wall, against a pillar. Grabbed his backpack, threw a pair of headphones at. Arrest and release. She was arrested on 4th-degree domestic violence. You got to translate that for her, sir. She was booked into jail, released in 24 hours. Coleman did not press charges. The case was dropped. They just started dating in February 2025.
Mm.
So this is a new relationship. So, sir, explain fourth degree domestic violence, sir. What does that mean?
That would be the level. There's different degrees of severity, and that is in the state of Washington. So let's look at fourth degree domestic. What is it? The fourth degree what? Domestic violence? What is it?
Fourth degree domestic violence assault. The case was
And they,
dropped to as well.
the case was see, now this is what I'm saying. Different states will have different things. In the state of Connecticut, you can't drop charges.
Oh, you cannot.
You cannot drop charge, not domestic violence or intimate partner violence.
You
um
kidding
you
me?
know yeah, that's what I was saying before, is uh you have to proceed with that, and there would be some type of mandated, uh not that she would have to be imprisoned or anything like that, but there would have to be some type of resolution. In other words,
Okay.
she would have to get anger management or move away from him, right? There's got to be some type of things that go along with that, some type of parameters. Let me see. Violence assault in Washington State. Okay, let's read through this here. Let me
All
put this
right.
on the screen here.
And please translate for us non-justice people, sir, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
Stop
you.
screen share, add screen, share screen. Sometimes you got to be careful with these law. So I'm getting this from a law firm, Beckwith Law. So let's see here. This says if standards for assault 1, 2, 3, and 4 are not met, assault in the fourth degree will be charged. No injury needs to occur for assault 4 to be charged. In other words, there's no injury.
Okay.
So that's
Got
one of
it.
the parameters. Like assault 1 would be,
Got it. Got
that
it.
would
Okay.
be like a gunshot or maybe
Got
a
it.
knife stab or something like that.
Got
Assault 2, bloody nose or something like that, or maybe even a broken arm. Assault 3 is maybe that would be a bloody nose, or maybe a black and blue mark, or just simple, some type of evidence that there was a fight, ripped clothes.
it. Okay.
You'd have to read through each specific one, and again, these vary from state to state. But assault 4 is from what my reading is right here, is that there were no injuries.
Okay.
The intentional contact just needs to be considered offensive by a reasonable person. So, in other words, people who are watching this will be like, "Yeah, they made contact, and it wasn't justifiable." Right? This is not two people who are lovingly hugging each other as they walk into an airport. Right? Since there is often no physical violence of an assault, being wrongfully accused of assault 4 is common. Fourth degree assault is a gross misdemeanor in Washington state, and jail time ranges from 0 to 64 days with fines up to $5,000. A conviction for assault 4 will result in loss of gun rights if there is domestic violence relationship with the alleged victims. So
Okay.
that's a little bit about that.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it says Coleman declined to press charges and said he did not want to be considered a victim. As a result, the case was dropped.
I'm looking to see if you can decline charges in the state of Washington. Obviously, you can, but I'm curious as to why they allow that, because that was such a big push. Now things obviously rotate and go around and all that, but yeah, can victims decline domestic charges? State Washington. That's a curious phenomenon to me. Where'd you read that
Yeah.
at? Where'd you read that at?
A chat GBT.
All right, let me see what this says. This is
Okay.
from Alan Friedman here, because that's a curious thing here. This is from Alan Friedman here. This is a quick search that we're doing right here. And can victims of domestic violence drop the charges? And I put this in for the state of Washington. This is for 203. That's not the correct.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
got to get
203 is
somebody.
us, right?
Yeah, 203 is us. Hold on a second here. Let me pause this here. All right, so this is from Snohomish Law.
I ain't gonna
PLC.
try to say it, sir. I ain't gonna try to say
Yeah.
it.
So this is their loss. What happens if an alleged victim wants to drop domestic violence charges? Can an alleged victim drop domestic violence charges? Unlike other criminal charges where a victim may decline to press charges, domestic violence cases in Washington are prosecuted by the state. Once law enforcement is involved and an arrest is made, the prosecutor has full discretion on whether to proceed with the case. Yeah, so
Prosecutor
you
said, don't go after it then, apparently.
they must have dropped the charges, or she must have pled or something, or maybe she's going to agree to something, or but yeah, I mean that's an interesting that was put there. So, but every state's going to be different. Listen, they got to deal with whatever they're going to deal with. But I wanted to address that. So what would be your takeaway from that incident from a man's perspective
All right.
about this?
So really, to me, it's a form of emasculating. That's number one.
Hmm.
And two wrongs don't make a right. So I got to find out what happened, what went down. But I would tell because right now I don't counsel couples who hit. That's a big no-no. Once I find out you hit, because I'm also a marriage counselor, I can't counsel you because hitting is not allowed. Because that's a form of disrespect. I'm putting you in a disrespectful point, and I'm not respecting you. So I feel liberated to put my hands on you anytime I want. And to me, that does not work. So that's a no-no. But on the other part, I got to find out what happened. Is this a trend? This is the first time? Does she have a history of being beat by men? Because that could happen too as well. Is this a history of her seeing that as a child? So is it really did her father beat her mother? I mean, so I really got to find out the background because as a counselor, I got to dig to find out what started. As my wife says all the time, because she's a parts coach. That what's the echo? What started you feeling lax or comfortable to put your hands on somebody else?
That's an interesting point of view there. What made you feel as if it was okay to
What
put your hands on
Yeah,
someone else?
exactly because in our society we got so many wrongs that are now being justified as all right, and this is a perfect example. All right, it's all right for me to hit him because he's bigger than me. No, it is not. But if you've been taught that, if you have a support group that says, oh, he can take a punch, absolutely not, because if he punch you back, all of a sudden now you want to call the popo.
Mm, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so my takeaway is very much the same. Obviously, you're coming from a counselor's perspective, but
Yes,
I think
sir.
the guy in this did the exact right thing, trying to walk away. Um, yeah, you got to walk away. And again, as I talked about, he would not have been wrong if he would have tried to restrain her. Particularly, she started throwing punches and causing some serious damage. You don't have
I
to
thought she
stand
was
there and
Ali
take
for a
him.
while there, bro. Though she was Ali and a wrestler at the same time, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that was something that this guy's got to take away. So what you brought up was an interesting point there concerning the background and history, and people who grow up in these environments, right? We call it social learning in the academic field, right? That you grow up around these environments and you see your parents put their
Yep,
hands on each other.
yep,
You see your big brother put his hands on his girlfriend,
yep,
and
yep.
next thing you know, whether you're a guy, you think that this is normal for your women to put your hands on you, or
Right,
if you're a girl, you think it's normal to put your hands on someone or to have someone put their hands on you. So we have to part of this. This is another reason why states press these charges
and they
is because
should.
they want people to get the psychological, emotional help and therapy to overcome the training and programming
Right,
that they have endured from their childhood. It's not okay for you as a grown adult to become frustrated to the point where you think it's okay to put your hands on someone else. That is
right,
not an okay way in which we should be living in society. Therefore,
right,
we're going to mandate for you to go to couples counseling, to therapy, to anger management, or whatever other types of programs are out there. We're going to mandate that before you can move back in the home with this person, before we'll drop this restraining order, before we drop these charges, you are going to have to go to these types of
yeah,
therapeutic sessions.
because it's a slippery slope if you're not careful. All
Yeah.
right. So my hands didn't work. So let me pick up an instrument, or an instrument don't work. All right, let me pick up a gun. So yes, it's important that people find out where is this anger coming from, that you feel so implied and so free to put your hands on somebody. So that happens. But for the men, hear me loud and clear. Sometimes you can do right and still be the one looked at as the as the antagonist, and that's why that man holding on to the suitcase was so powerful. Because if he had touched her in any type of way, another officer might have said, "Hey, you're the one, the aggressor." So you always got to be careful for that. Always.
You must be careful in that. I mentioned that at the top of the show there, that I've seen that so many times where
Sure.
where there's still the assumption that the male is the aggressor,
Correct.
or that you should have known better, or what is she going to do? Just little love taps. But you're supposed to be a man. You're supposed to be able to take it. This is still a common narrative that is still ingrained in far too many people in society. And
Yes,
police
sir.
officers are members of society who have grown up with the same type of training,
That's
same type
correct.
of indoctrination, and same type of socialization. Not that it's okay for the girl to hit, but that you can take it in some way, and you're less than a man if you don't sit there and take it. So we
Right.
have to really fight back against this type of thing. You
And let
mentioned
me
the
add that verbal offense is just as worse. When you get in the onslaught of barrages of curses and negativity, it's just as bad. So whether you're hitting or you're verbally attacking, it's still wrong, and it should not be allowed in your relationship at all.
yeah. You mentioned two things I want to mention here. First, you mentioned the slippery slope, and again, another reason that they do this mandated training and therapy and stuff is because if you don't stop it, it'll usually escalate. It'll usually escalate. Today it's punches and pushing into the wall. Next time
Right.
she'll
Right.
pick up an object,
That's right.
and if the guy doesn't fight back or do something restrained, it just empowers someone else to continue along the same path in that violence and aggression. And this guy's really got to think about. I don't know. We probably should have looked this up if they're still together, but that's really something. If they just started dating in February, you got to get rid of this person because she's
Uh,
already putting
yeah.
on her hands on you.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, some women are so Amazonish. I know that's a name of a word. Is that they feel, hey, I can hit, but no, no. If now again, if you're doing a little SNL, have fun, have your safe word. But you need to put that in check real quick, because if you don't, they will continue to go down that area.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing I wanted to mention is you talk about you don't counsel couples who
No,
hit.
no.
I don't deal with women who don't know how to argue fairly. And if the moment, the day, the
Explain
time,
that. Explain that, Dr. L. Fairly. Explain that, sir. That's very good.
the day, the time, the moment that you call me out my name, the relationship is over. I am not an effing a-hole. I am not I am not anything other than what my mother named me. I am not any of those things.
Yeah.
And I know, and I didn't grow up with my mother calling me that. I didn't grow up with my grandmother calling me that. We didn't call each other that in the household. In my household, when I was married, we didn't my one thing I will say about my exes, we didn't argue that way.
Okay.
And I didn't call my kids that. They didn't call
Yep.
me that. They didn't call each
Yep.
other that.
I
So
got
we
you. I
didn't
got you
we
set
don't we
up.
don't do I do not tolerate that at all. That is you got one time,
Do you say
to
that
do it.
immediately on the first date, or do you say that if
Oh,
you
I,
guys?
I tell them that from jump.
Are you
What's your deal
serious?
breakers? What's your deal? What is this?
Okay.
Absolutely. You call me out my name one time. I don't
Just
even care
one.
if it's playing. If it's playing in the jest, oh, you're such a jerk. It's over because I know you're testing me, and it's gonna grow from there. And I don't do disrespect. I do not do disrespect.
Dr.
So
L, you're very passionate about this, Dr. L.
yeah,
You're
because
very
because
passionate
I've
about
seen
this.
it.
Yeah.
I've seen the psychological damage from my friends who have endured that type of environment, and they still wrestle with that in our 50s today. The things their mothers called them,
What if the
the
woman
things that their
says
father
he's supposed
called
to
them.
be a man, he's supposed to take her? What if a woman says that, sir?
If I'm a man, I'm supposed to take it.
Yes, sir.
She says that to me.
Yes.
Oh, it's over. The relationship's over because I want to say
You're
this
very
right.
passionate about this,
I'm not
Dr. L.
supposed to be. Say that again.
You're very passionate about this, sir.
I'm not supposed to be anything. I am something. I am somebody.
Well, excuse me, sir.
And listen, I am not an arrogant person, but I fought too hard to overcome a lot of psychological impediments that were in my life. That's why I started my other channel, Dr. L's podcast, because I wanted
Sure.
to talk about some of the things that happened to me that I had to
Yeah.
go through, and I had to do a lot of work psychologically. I had to read books, go, a lot of church, talking to you, talking to our now deceased friend Eric Williams, talking to other
Yeah.
people about some of the things that I had grown up with, and I did a lot of work to get over this stuff, to get over a lot of things that happened to me as a child, and going and being around someone who is disrespectful, who tries to tear down my manhood, tries to tear down my personhood, and the
Agreed.
person who I'm sleeping with, the person who
Agreed.
says they love me, the person who I'm eating dinner with, going to take out to the movies, and you're going to disrespect me in that way, it's over. That's the way I feel about it.
Sir, I totally in compliance of you. Respect is important for a man, and there are women out here because of what happened to them. They feel, well, because it happened to me, I'm gonna do to somebody else. My last boyfriend disrespected me, and I've never let go of that bitterness or that pain. And so, because of that, I'm going to find a new man in my life and disrespect them. Two wrongs do not make a right, and so that's a sign of bitterness that's never been exposed and healed. So, sir, I agree with you, but I've never seen that passion. So you almost started turning red, sir. So I've never seen that passion before, sir.
And that's a few shades off, right? So so yeah, so that is a big deal to
Sure,
me, man, because
sure.
again, if you start off verbally, you'll get into
Correct.
emotional manipulation, emotional damage. I'll end up with complexes. You'll end up with complexes, and then who knows what's going to turn physical. I don't deal with that. It is absolutely a red line for me, and it's over. It's over. So
Uh,
yeah.
I agree. And if this young lady doesn't get the counseling, then yes, I will tell that man deuces for sure. Deuces
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. You got to do what's best to protect your peace, your physical safety, and your emotional safety. That's men
Right,
or women. You must
right,
do that type of work. Yes, you
right,
must do that type of
right.
work. So, yeah. All
Thank
right,
you,
brother.
sir.
We got to cut this one short. I appreciate you coming on. Tell us where you can find the rest of you, what you got going on there, brother.
Yes, so my website, relationshiptrainer.org. My TikTok, relationship trainer, Instagram, relationship trainer. Oh, glory to God, over 10 million views. Also our website together, faithandjusticepodcast.com. And we are here to talk about real issues. And if your college or if your fraternity or sorority wants to bring us in to talk about stuff, we'll be honored to come in to talk about these important issues that we need to face and deal with. And this is a very powerful one about the issues of hitting and domestic violence. So thank you, Dr. L, for having me, sir. I'm honored and greatly esteemed, sir.
Yes, sir.
Not
And
esteemed.
let me finish this off by saying yes. Reach out to us. We'll certainly be glad to come on your podcast or be flued out somewhere to sit on the panel and have these deep discussions. And as you mentioned, colleges and stuff, right? What brought to my mind was this idea again of putting people who put their hands on each other and thinking that this is somehow culturally accepted or this is part of Black culture, or yelling at each other or calling each other out their name and all that. It's not. It's part of toxic culture that we must eradicate and eliminate, and we have to do that type of work. So yes, hit us up on Faith and Justice Podcast. Hit the like button, share the podcast. Check me out on my other podcast, Dr. L's podcast, where I talk about relationships and self-improvement, and also Dr. L's Breakdown, where I break down police-related videos and anything along those lines. Hit the like button on this channel. Go to Dr. B, follow him on his social media as well. If you have any show topics, hit us up in the email, faithinjusticepodcast at gmail.com, faithinjustice at gmail.com. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. Make sure you guys keep your hands to yourselves. Take care of yourselves. Much love and peace.
I like that. That was good.
Right.